What if I told you you could sell your home without hiring a realtor? I know, coming from a realtor, that sounds crazy, right? But I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to do it and why most people who try to do it this way end up losing $50,000 or more. So before you put a for sale by owner sign in your yard, watch this video and decide for yourself if it's worth the sanity trying to sell it on your own versus hiring a professional. By the way, I'm Damian Trofimowicz with Trofimowicz Group at eXp Realty. I'm ranked in the top 100 agents in the state of Minnesota. And on this channel, I break down the stuff that no one tells you about buying or selling the properties and just give you as much insight as possible. So if you're looking for truth about real estate, no clickbait stuff, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Okay, so let's talk about the first step, and that is fixing your home the right way. If I was selling a home on my own, the first thing that I would do, I would make sure that my house looks amazing by the time it goes on the market. And I'm not talking about HGTV kind of renovation where they got the whole place. Most people waste money on upgrading the wrong things. I see that over and over. They will spend 15 grand on doing a bathroom remodel and then skip on $500 paint touch-up. A lot of questions that come up is, do you paint the house? Or do you change the carpet, right? Or do you change hardware light fixtures? Do you need to put granite in the kitchen? Or do you need to update your appliances? All those questions are important, but are they really necessary? Here's the rule: if it doesn't make the buyer feel something, don't do it. Simple things I always recommend: touch up paint or repaint any dark, solid colors with something more neutral. Buyers, when they come in, they want to envision themselves in the house. Same thing with flooring. If your flooring's outdated, if you got some old tile, put new LVP on. If your carpet's beat up, nobody wants to come in and buy your house thinking about, hey, I have to tear the whole carpet out and install a new carpet. Even when you think about providing some concessions, typically buyers will end up writing offers much less because of the work that needs to be done. So really think through what is the most important things you need to do in the house to make sure that buyer doesn't come in and start thinking, well, this needs to be done here, this needs to be done here, and all of a sudden that experience, right, where they enjoy the house, where they're excited about the house, all of a sudden turns into, this house has a lot of work to be done, but I may be willing to go for it if I get it at this price, versus upfront getting a very strong offer. Step two, a very important step, and that is pricing. If you price too low, you're basically giving equity away. If you price too high, you end up missing out on real serious buyers. And what happens then? Your listing gets stale, you end up doing price reductions or lowball offers, and that's what we want to avoid. So what do most for sale by owners do? Well, a lot of them go on Zillow and look at their Zestimate and try to price based on that, sometimes even going higher, but that's a huge mistake. Pricing your house based on Zestimate sometimes can be off by $20,000 one way or even $30,000 the other way. And that's why it's so important looking into multiple factors about your property, doing a thorough market analysis. You're not hiring an agent, look at tax assessor, look what's sold in the neighborhood. Try to look at very similar comparable sales when you price in the house. You don't want to compare your one level house to a two-story that's sold across the street. It's not apples to apples, right? We want to compare apples to apples. So if you have a Rambler, you want to compare it to a Rambler. If your Rambler is 4,000 square feet, we want to compare it to other houses that are 4,000 square feet and not something that's 1,500 square feet. That's how you narrow the price down to that market price. Another important piece is look at the active sales. If you look at your neighborhood and there's a similar house 3 doors down for sale that's a Rambler, and your house is a Rambler, same size, same updates, maybe same lot as well, and they're priced at $900,000 and they've been on the market for 100+ days and they haven't sold it, chances are if you list your house at the same price as that neighbor, you will not sell your house unless there's something crazy amazing about your house. But if we're comparing apples to apples, we have to then price accordingly based on what this house is at and probably come in underneath that. Let's talk about step 3, and that is the paperwork, right? Important piece. If you're going to be selling the house on your own, you have to understand what is everything that goes into the purchase agreement. What kind of disclosures do you need? If your house part of certain specific cities, do you need a city inspection done? If your house part of HOA, what kind of association documents should you be ordering to make sure that the buyer has accurate information and that you fill out seller's disclosures the right way, so that way you don't get sued 6 months later after they buy the house. So understanding the paperwork is very important. The reason why you want to understand the paperwork really well, there's so many things in the purchase agreements that are just as important as price. What is going on with earnest money? How much money are they putting down? Is there any specific contingencies that they have in there that gives the buyer an easy way out? This is what we as agents scan very thoroughly to make sure that if the purchase agreement is written very tailored to buyer and protects the buyer, we want to counter that. And you as a for sale by owner, you need to understand what to look for. So make sure you thoroughly look at what are the things that you need to know. And the big thing of course, disclosures. Like you miss one checkbox, you can get sued 6 months later. So it's very important to not play around with this stuff. The fourth step, and this is where I see a lot of for sale by owners miss the boat, and that is marketing. A lot of times when I'll go on Zillow or Realtor.com and I look at the for sale by owner section, a lot of these houses unfortunately have terrible photos. That's just one of many things, right? The second thing would be how the house looks. They'll leave everything cluttered, the stuff on the wall that doesn't need to be there, bunch of large pieces of furniture. Overall, the house does not look move-in ready or inviting. So when you scroll, photos are super bland, barely can see what the living room looks like. A lot of buyers will just skip your house. And that's where I highly encourage you to hire a professional photographer, professional videographer, someone who can do drone photos to show your lot. In today's market, a very good media package is extremely important. In fact, it's a must-have to sell your house. Back in the day, I'm sure you could get away with just putting your house in a newspaper with one picture and have it sold. These days, buyers are very visual. They want to look at every possible picture before making a decision to see your house. So we want to make sure your house stands out. Photos are done extremely well. You have a video, you have drone and aerial photos, and everything else that can help the buyer decide that, hey, I really want to go and check this house out. Now let's pull back a curtain, and this is the important part where I think for sale by owners may be losing out against a professional like a realtor. If my buyer was writing an offer on a for sale by owner property, I feel like I would have advantage in so many ways because I'm understanding how to write up the contract, how to negotiate, how to find the seller's bottom line. And if you don't have somebody in your corner having your back throughout this process, this is where you end up losing thousands of dollars. On the surface, people may think being a real estate agent is easy. You just open doors, put a for sale sign in the yard, and it's done. In reality, there's like 50 checkpoints throughout the transactions where real estate agents get involved. And if you're not looking to have a lot of headache, a lot of stuff that you constantly have to oversee throughout that transaction, then maybe going for sale by owner, it might not be the right choice. But if you're like, hey, I got all the time in the world, I will figure it out on my own, and I'm willing to do what needs to be done, go ahead and do it. Just don't miss the important part. Don't miss the important contingencies. Don't miss delivering important documents. All those things that's going to be on your back. So just make sure you are aware of everything that needs to happen at every point of the transaction, from when the offer comes in, from when we go into the contract, from inspection, appraisal, getting ready for final walkthrough. What if the appraisal comes in last? How do you deal with that, right? To make sure that you still sell for top dollar. There's so many things that can get messy. How do you solve inspection repairs? If somebody comes at you with a list of things, what are things that would be reasonable to say yes to? What are things that would say absolutely not? And that's where I think makes a big difference between having a professional who has your back versus try to do this on your own and not get stomped on by a professional who knows what they're doing. Here's the reality check. According to National Association of Realtors, for sale by owners average their home sale price around $260,000, while at the same time, those who work with an agent sold their houses for much higher at $318,000. That's nearly $58,000 difference. So yeah, you may be able to save on commission 1 or 2 or 3% here and there, but in reality, based on the research done, for sale by owners end up losing a lot more money than if they would have listed with a real estate agent. So can you sell your home on your own without an agent? Absolutely. But that all depends how much stress and risk you're willing to take on and how much money you're okay leaving on the table. So I hope this video helps. If you would like a free comparative market analysis on your property to show you what you could sell your home in this market with using a realtor versus not, I'm more than happy to look at your specific situation and see how I can help. No strings attached. And of course, if this video helped you, hit that like and subscribe button and share this video with somebody who may be thinking about selling their house on their own. Thanks again, and I'll see you at the next one.